The October 6, 2025 meeting of the North Olmsted Building and Zoning Board of Appeals will come to order at 7 o'clock. If everyone could please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Wilson, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Papato?
Here.
Mr. Ammons?
Here.
Mr. Mackey?
Here.
Ms. Glotno?
Here.
Okay. For all business before the board, each board member has viewed the premises involved in the case. Each case will be judged on the physical situation peculiar to itself, so that in no way is a judgment rendered considered to be a general policy affecting all properties and situations elsewhere. 3 votes are required for approval. Our meeting procedure, cases will be called in order of the agenda. When your case is called, if you could please come up to the podium. You can leave the microphone where it is, or you can pick it up if you like, but do, as you're speaking, please speak into the microphone because it's being recorded. Also, and then once you come up to the podium for your case, give us your name, including the spelling, and then anyone else who wishes to speak on that case, please come at the same time. Same thing, give us your name and spelling. I will swear you all in. Someone from the city will give an introduction of the case, and then we'll return back to the applicant to present their case and then proceed from there. So, okay, and with that, we will call the first item on our agenda, which would be 268-2025, Lori Moran at 5079 Porter Road. So anyone wishing to speak on this, if you could please come up to the agenda. Podium, yes, thank you. Okay, so if everybody could please give us your name, address, spelling. Is it working okay?
Kind of. I'm very, very deaf.
Okay.
Lori Moran, at 5079 Porter Road. I'm sorry?
She can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me.
You gotta speak up.
Lori Moran at 5079 Porter Road, Olmsted. Can you
Okay.
hear me okay?
That's good? Yep. I
Okay.
can hear you fine.
Okay.
Robin Nelms. I live at 1005 Dover Center Road, and I'm actually from Westlake. I won't hold that against you guys. Joe, come on.
Sir?
David Holter, Hoelter, 4985 Porter Road, resident.
Okay, thank you. And does anyone else wish to speak on this case? Provide testimony? Okay, thank you. I'd like to, if you set the microphone back down, I have to swear you all in, please. That's good. Actually, maybe keep it up so that we can catch it. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Seeley, if you could please give us an
Sure.
introduction.
Thank you. This is actually just one variance. It's an appeal to the building commissioner's decision. The property owner is appealing the decision of the building commissioner. The gravel driveway extension must be removed and returned to grass. The original complaint came in, dog grooming business in a residential area. A garage conversion to a business and gravel driveway extension was called into the building department on October 23rd, 2024. A violation notice was sent in December of 24 as the inspector was trying to work with the property owner's father at the time, Richard Moran. The dog business violation has been abated. The original compliance date for the gravel extension was May 1st, 2025. It was then extended by the building department till August 31st. The gravel driveway must be removed, dirt added and seeded. It's been ongoing, just coming here, why? Because of multiple issues with the docket. So that's why it's here today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Director Groh, question for you before we proceed. So we have a lot of information, and there's been a bit of history on this case. If you could, for the board and for the applicant. The only thing we're dealing with tonight is the gravel driveway. The dog grooming business and any of all that,
All gone.
that
Yes.
has all been
Correct.
abated, as Ms. Healy stated, so it's just the one variance request for the gravel drive, the decision on the gravel driveway.
Right, and it's actually an appeal from the decision of the building commissioner. It's not a variance request, so it's a little bit different than sometimes what you receive. And if you'll allow me, under 1363, an appeal of any appeal from a building commissioner notice or order, which we have here pursuant to exterior maintenance, here's the standard of review. This is what you should keep in mind when reviewing. The standard review is that there's no basis in fact for the building commissioner's notice, or that the decision is arbitrary and capricious. One guideline for determining whether something is arbitrary or capricious is whether the act being appealed was undertaken without reasonable grounds or adequate consideration of circumstances. That's under 1363 11.111. So it's a bit of a different standard. So it's, again, there's no basis in fact for the commissioner's notice or decision, or the decision is arbitrary and capricious. Right. And I think, was the building commissioner going to speak tonight, or are you just here to observe?
I was just here to, if you need anything from me, I'm here for it. So,
Do you want to be sworn in, and then at that point you can be utilized
well,
as?
in all honesty, Mr. Barker was the inspector on the job, so I have no knowledge.
Mr. Barker, will you? I just want to make sure if anybody's going to speak on this matter is going to be sworn in. So does it?
Yes.
Do you want to have Mr. Barker?
Okay, so yeah, if you
You
would
can just
mind
speak
going.
into this microphone.
Oh yeah, either microphone. Yep.
Save me the steps.
Okay.
Go ahead and swear him in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
just my comments were just so that we stay focused.
Absolutely,
on-
just the one issue.
on the one issue.
And whether or not Mr.
Right.
Barker does in fact testify, that's just depends, but at least he's sworn in and you know the standard, okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, if you could please present your case.
I believe there's a plan that we had put up here, that we had provided. So, as you said, we're talking about just the gravel in the driveway. And it's my understanding, wow, that's a lot of papers. So the grounds that they have, it is our contention that there was existing gravel in a portion of that driveway. I believe we also have someone else that can corroborate that. In the pictures that we have, in the actual new survey, you can see there is a section that's green that we're contending was existing gravel. It just had not been adequately, I think, maintained. So reestablishing and getting rid of those, overgrowth is kind of at issue. But also in the plan, there's a plan that has like a green segment and a red segment and a blue segment. Sorry. Wow. We've got quite the file. So within the plans that we had provided, there is a blue segment which gravel was added, and that was added to be able to access the area much better, to get to the sheds that are on the side of the garage, to be able to get the mower in there. There is a red segment that is on there that we contend we did add, and we are more than willing to, and Lori, you'll have to speak to this, Lori's more than willing to put dirt over top of that red segment that is in the plan there, and put grass there. Digging all the gravel up, that is quite a costly endeavor for Lori, who's undertaken and fulfilled all the other requests that had happened to move her business. And, she's now leasing a space which wasn't originally in her plan. So, we are prepared to contend and say, yes, absolutely. The red section was added. The green section, which unfortunately isn't up on the screen, the green section was existing. And the blue section is to allow them access to their their backyard next to the shed, and to be able to get their mower into the shed. So that's really what we're here to kind of contend and say, hey, we believe that green segment was already there. I guess I'll take any questions, additional questions, before I hand it over to Lori.
Well, yeah, anyone that has anything to say, if you could
Okay.
just present it
Okay.
now, and then we'll go back to the city.
In one of the pictures, I didn't think it was up there or in the pictures, but there is a picture where you can see a gray spot where there is gravel in the grass. It might be that one. I'm very nearsighted, so I can't. It's a picture that looks like that, but you can see a spot over on the left-hand side. I'm sorry, I'm not more organized. I'm trying to decipher all of his notes that he had put together. Maybe it's. Oh. But basically, what she's saying is. I completely agree. I agree with everything she just said. We're on the same page.
To the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
section, sorry.
No, that's not the one I was talking about. Oh.
That's the red section I was speaking of.
Sir, did you have anything to add? Anything to add?
Why, yes. David Holder. I've been resident in North Olmsted at 4985 Porter Road since 1972. I walked my dogs back then, and I still walk my dogs, different dogs, up and down the sidewalk, and that's one of the reasons why the ladies got a hold of me and asked me to try and clarify a couple points. I guess there was questions whether there was even a turnaround of gravel on this property. I can honestly and emphatically say yes. The gentleman who lived there used to work for Ohio Bell. He brought in an Ohio Bell telephone pole that had been cut up, and he had it against, I shouldn't say against, next to the large tree that is right on the edge of the red and green gravel area now. He used to back out his antique cars, and by that I mean the old wooden spoke-wheeled antique cars. And he used to back them up against the tree and everything. So I know there was gravel there for many, many years. His health failed, and he lived there a long time, and they finally had to bodily remove him because of his mental state and stuff like that. But he had been in the house, using the house, the driveway, and that limitedly up until the end. So he did not have much maintenance done to the gravel driveway. The one thing I'd like to remind everybody of is Porter Road is not your normal, everyday street in North Olmsted. There's 13 gravel gravel aprons and 6 gravel driveways in the first block from Mill Road to Lorraine Road. There's, I believe, I've got them written down, but yes, I was right. 16 aprons that are gravel driveway. There are 5 double curb cut driveways on the first block of Porter Road between Lorraine and Mill. I walked down the rest of the way many, many times, again with my dogs. There's north of it, of Mill Road, there's 7 double curb cut driveways and 22 stone driveways. not of all of those are in perfect shape either. My home was one of the homes that caused us to have the non-conforming situations come to head way back when. Because my property and the property next to it were owned by parents and a sibling, and they had the driveways on the outside, but the doors into the houses and that were on the opposite side because they wanted to visit each other. It also sits back from the street too far. So many of the rules, I don't want to say should be ignored, but they should at least be honored as the way the houses were built, maintained, and improved upon. The end of the turnaround, as you backed in with your car going north and south, the property on the north there, the boundary line is roughly 14 feet from the boundary line to where the turnaround will end. Everybody that's got a house that doesn't conform has to go through this, and it really is hard on the whole body and the whole neighborhood. We have a brand new house going in on the corner of Mill and Porter Road. I would hate to see what that person is going through with the city to have that put up because of the situation there and everything. I am open for questions.
We'll get to that point. So if you're done with your statement, yeah, just set the microphone back.
Like I say, I can show you or tell you or explain better where the turnaround was at and how far it went and everything else. If you want, I've got it marked in that.
Okay, we'll have a section for questions. So you
Okay,
can
thank you.
appreciate your input. Okay, Ms. Healy, comments from the building department? Oh,
Make one more statement?
certainly.
So, in closing,
Microphone, if you could, please.
I'm
Yeah.
allowed to talk. In closing, and thank you so much for getting this up here. We're more than willing to contend that this red section was actually added, and we're more than willing to cover that with dirt and plant grass so that there's grass on there. We're more than willing to do that in the red section, given that we do admit is expansion. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that we're more than willing to do that. Anything else, Lori? Wow, this is really tight.
Okay, Ms. Healy, comments
Sure.
from the building department?
Right, Lynn, are you able to go to 35, 41, the first? So, so I just want to read you our regulations for gravel driveways, okay? So gravel driveways do exist in the city, and they're allowed to exist as long as they're maintained and they are not added. No extensions to them. Only approved surface is concrete and asphalt. That's the only approved surface right now. So I'm going to read you our regulations for gravel driveways. City ordinance has for some time required that driveways be constructed of concrete or asphalt. However, within the city, there are numerous driveways constructed of gravel that were in place before the enactment of an ordinance requiring hard pavement. These are considered a permanent non-conforming condition, sometimes referred to as grandfathering in lay terms. As such, their use may be continued as long as they are maintained as required by other ordinances, such as those for exterior property maintenance, have not been expanded or changed, since a non-conforming use may not be expanded. Since gravel tends to spread and poor maintenance makes the limits of gravel driveway even more difficult to establish, the extent of the permitted non-conforming drive needs to be determined by reasonable evidence, such as photographs or surveys. Absent any other historical evidence, the building department will accept an aerial photograph from the county GIS website establishing that drive has been in existence since at least 1993, the earliest date of aerial photography available on the site. The site allows the extent of the drive to be measured and copied of the photograph can be submitted to the building department. Once reviewed and accepted, this record will be placed in the street file. It is recommended that gravel drive be provided with landscape edging to limit the intrusion of the gravel onto landscaped area or lawn areas so that it can be maintained in accordance with the property maintenance code. Expansion or changes to a gravel drive, including those which are existing but which have been placed after the enactment of the required for paved drives, must be removed or must be paved in accordance with the current North Olmsted city ordinances. So that's the gravel driveway policy there. Page 35 shows an aerial view. That's not it. That's it right there. So if you can see clearly where the gravel driveway was, and then you can see on the left-hand side where a rectangular area was placed. So if that gravel was there, it's been long covered with grass that you couldn't even see it. So that's what alerted the inspector. I think it came in via a complaint from a neighbor that the gravel driveway was expanded on.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Please.
what's the date of the photograph that's on the screen right now?
That was an aerial we got from the county site from March 25th of 2024. So right after this all came in. Looks like that photo was from. There's also, if you go down further, you get some other GIS images that don't show that the gravel driveway was there. You can see a path with grass in the middle. And then
What's the date of that one?
page 38, it says on the top, right where the address is, I can't see it. That one's from 1993. Then if you go down a little further, that one's from 2002. And then that was from Google Maps. That doesn't, maybe it was a little bit there, but it wasn't, it was all covered over. So that's why the violation was given, because it was expanded on. It wasn't maintained. You couldn't see it in the photos, so. Paul, do you have anything to add?
So I've been doing property maintenance inspections for 8 years. We had a complaint. I went out to the complaint. I'm sorry. Pardon me? Yes, ma'am. So we had a complaint. I went out to look over the property, and we have no objection to the gravel driveway from the street to the house to the garage. Our objection is the added parking lot, and we had GIS photos from the air that shows no gravel on that side of the driveway until the dog grooming store opened up, and they added gravel to make a parking lot. It's basically a parking lot, and again, we have no objection to the driveway, and Mr. Moran and I discussed it quite a bit along with Ms. Seeley, that he could go so wide, and it had to be straight, but we had to get rid of the gravel. Our other issue, or it's a personal issue, I don't think just putting dirt over what that gravel is now is going to produce a good grass yard. I feel the gravel should be removed, dirt placed in where the gravel was, and then seeded. I don't think they're going to get good coverage just putting dirt over the gravel, because I don't think it'll feed through. We've talked to our forester, and I've talked to a few landscapers, and their opinion is that will not suffice.
I don't know what he just said at all. I'm sorry. No, I know that you're talking, but I couldn't.
Okay. What part didn't you?
All of it.
All of it? Okay. So we have no objection to your driveway. We have objection. I cited on the premise that gravel was added after 1993, which is not permitted. We have GIS photos going back to 1993 showing no gravel area. I don't think that if you put dirt over the existing gravel, that grass will even grow. I feel that, and I think our code would go with it, our forester agrees, that you have to remove the gravel, put down the dirt, and then grass seed. And again, sorry for your loss, but your dad and I discussed that quite a few times.
Okay. I can't afford that. I'm about to be on the verge of losing my business because I have an extra $2,000 a month expense.
You'll have some time to respond in a minute. So,
Okay.
no. Okay. All right. Anything else from Mr. Parker, Ms. Seeley? Director Groh?
I have nothing further. Thank you.
I think it's been discussed with Ms. Seeley and her description of what the code requires, and I'll just, at the risk of repeating what she said, the rules are you're allowed to have it as long as you maintain it, right? Yeah, anything that's non-conforming, we have a zoning code, right? It changes from time to time, and some things go, some things are added. If you have a use, I should say not a use, a structure or a driveway that, or even a turnaround that complies with the zoning code, and then the zoning code changes, you get to keep that. You get to keep that as long as it's maintained, right? I mean, you can do that. They're not going to come in and just change the code and tell everybody to start ripping it out. That's not lawful. So the question is when it's abandoned, when it's an abandoned use, an abandoned driveway, abandoned gravel driveway, you lose your grandfathering status. That's what the issue is. So that the question is when you stop using it, you no longer can continue to use it. So that now you have to comply with the codes. That's the middle ground. This whole thing is about the code that the city council passed in 1990, whatever year it was, or they made the deadline in 1993. That's all this is about. So the question is, was it basically an abandoned use, and then was it reestablished or established after the effective date, which means you're not allowed to use gravel, you got to use one of the two improved surfaces. That's really what this is. I know it. Maybe I'm hopefully explaining it clear enough that everybody can kind of understand. It's not picking on somebody. It's just these are the laws they have, right? And that gentleman over there is in charge of enforcing the laws, and then the gentleman next to him, they issue orders, and then you're allowed to come up here and say that order is there's no basis in fact, or it's arbitrary and capricious. So they get limited on what they're allowed to do with your argument, right? They can't say, well, we like the look of this or that, or they're supposed to keep it to a limited range. That's all this is about. I know it is a big deal, but to try to explain it in a way that hopefully is clear enough for everyone to understand how we got to this point. Nobody's picking on anybody. It's just that's what the law says, right? So the law says that. They take an oath to uphold the law. The law says you can't do that. So then they say, okay, well, we got to cite you, and we cite you, and here we are. For people listening, might be wondering, why are we even here? That's why we're here, okay? And not all of you are here for this particular type of issue. You're here for zoning code variances and things like that. But I just wanted to repeat that at the risk of repeating what's been said already, just to emphasize that to these folks, that's how we get here, and that's what your job is. So, all right, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, board members, any questions for any of the witnesses or for city staff?
Yes, I have a question or two concerning the remedy of covering over certain graveled areas that are non-conforming currently and enforcement orders are issued on. When could that be accomplished? Is there a timeline that you have in mind? Because the current enforcement order is what you're objecting to because of time expiration. So how much time is needed to accomplish this project?
He's asking how much time is needed in order to, what I believe they're saying is to dig up all the gravel and replace it with dirt. And did you have a time?
Excuse me, I did not ask that question, ma'am.
Okay.
My question was, how long would it take to remedy this situation, to complete the work that is needed? I did not say anything about digging up gravel. Okay? That was not part of my question at all.
Okay, but I thought.
Okay, all I'm asking is, the city has said that they need to see the non-conforming portion of that drive or that parking pad or whatever you want to call it. They need to see that covered and grown over with grass or some kind of landscape architecture. Okay? So that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking anybody to dig up gravel or as part of the plan. So let's stay on question, please.
So, he, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is asking how long would it take to cover the gravel and grow grass there? For the non-conforming piece, which would be all, you mean the parking pad, all of it that you spoke of, Ms. Seeley, right?
That, Mr. Chairman, that is the subject of the order, is the parking pad in its entirety, correct?
Everything,
Yes.
but, everything but the driveway.
Everything but the driveway.
Everything but the drive.
Yeah, we are talking about everything
Just the parking.
except the driveway.
Okay, gotcha. So everything excluding the driveway to put it back to this state where there's grass on top of it, how long would it take for you to comply with it? Now, granted, it's fall, so you don't get a lot of grass growing in fall.
Hang on, let them finish. Wait 1 minute, please. Let them finish.
I would have to figure out financially
Okay.
how to do that.
I would think, they could, and I don't want to speak for you. I'm throwing a suggestion to you that within 3 months you could have the base to put grass there. However, getting grass to grow wouldn't really happen till spring, I would think. But you could have the base to cover it over where grass could begin to grow in spring. So I think she could do that within 3 months. Would that seem
I
reasonable?
could work extra days and hours, yeah.
Okay. So, Lori, is your response 3 months? You have to say that.
Yes, I think I can get it figured out in 3 months.
Okay, sir, Mr. Mackey still has the floor with this question. Not yet.
Yes.
As soon as he's finished.
If you'll hold, please. Okay. There was some previous testimony about financial hardship, and I recognize that, and with other issues that were previously heard, that you've moved a business in the past year twice. Once to your home, and then to gain compliance with city code, you moved it to a commercial establishment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was due to maliciousness from my neighbor. Yes.
Okay.
I was not bothering them at all. But
Okay.
yes.
That's permitted. And has this caused an undue financial hardship for you?
Extreme. I'm almost going to lose my business because it's an extra $2,000 a month that I've never had to budget for. I did my business to help the community be able to afford pet grooming, especially during COVID, and the people that still endured hardships.
Okay.
And so I'm not budgeted to pay that. And so to add any more extra expense, all my financials from the move went into my property because I didn't know that the ordinance had changed, which I understand now was my own fault that but all my finances that went into my home to do my business, and then whatever little bit I had to put into the commercial storefront, and so I'm having a really hard time, really hard time.
Okay. But from what you've testified, are you prepared to continue to make best attempts to work with the city officials
Always,
to complete this?
always, yes.
project?
Best that I can, yes.
Okay. I have no further questions of Ms. Moran. I do have a question for Mr. Barker, however.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Barker, have you ever had a personal experience of covering over a gravel lot and planting grass?
No.
Okay. Have you, anybody here who is a professional who says it can't be done?
I don't think so. I'm not sure if I mean that it can't be done. You can attempt it, but I don't think it's going to work out well.
Okay. All right.
It's up to the chairman.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Seeley had a question.
So our concern with it not being removed is that, say Lori sells a house in a couple years and other people move in and they were going to think, oh, we can use this. And so it's not going to be gone. I certainly do not want to add any extra burden on her, any hardship for her. And unfortunately, I'm sure some of this doing was not on her own to put that there. But that's our concern, is if the gravel does stay there, it's pretty compacted down, that somebody in the future purchase the home will then say, oh, we're going to be back here again. That, oh, this gravel was here, I'm going to expand on it again. That's all.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and also, I think just to maybe redirect on this, the financial hardship part really is, it's a fact, but it's not a fact for you guys. The question, again, go back to the standard. There's no basis in fact for his order, right? Or it's arbitrary and capricious. Maybe there's arbitrary. You want to talk about what arbitrary and capricious means. And they presented some pictures and evidence that they believe, the administration believes, demonstrates that point. The issue of when it gets done and how it gets done is something that traditionally the building department, as they always do, work with the resident to try to solve the condition. Like any property maintenance situation we have in North Olmsted, the last thing you want to do is be prosecuting somebody. We trip over ourselves to give people the opportunity to take care of it. That's something that Mr. Barker and Ms. Seeley would be working with her to take about timeframes about getting it done. So really, only question for you is whether or not she's keeping the pad or not. That's it. So it's not whether she can get more time or it's too expensive. The question is whether or not the building commissioner's order has no basis in fact, and whether it's arbitrary.
And if you could just one more, so that comes with no conditions or stipulations or anything.
Yeah,
it's just
no.
Yes or no.
No, the enforcement part of it's up to those folks. It's really whether or not his order, and his order was it's got to go. We got to remove it. So the question is whether or not that order there's no basis in fact for the notice, or that the decision is arbitrary and capricious. That's it. Those are the two things. You know, the how you do it part. If you say that the order is upheld, is up to the building department to work with the applicant, or forgive me, the resident to take care of that.
Yeah.
That's the granular stuff that they work on. Okay.
Well, then that brings up a question in my mind. When you use the terms arbitrary and capricious,
Mm-hmm.
that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. So my question is, under the legal umbrella of terminology, how do you define arbitrary and how do you define capricious?
Well, in this section that I read earlier, it said one guideline for determining whether something is arbitrary or capricious is whether the act being appealed was undertaken without reasonable grounds or adequate consideration of the circumstances. So if you believe that the order was without reasonable grounds or adequate consideration of the circumstances, you could say that it was arbitrary and capricious. That's just one example of what you might say arbitrary. And we kind of know what arbitrary is, capricious. That kind of gives you an example of what that would mean. So was it undertaken, his order undertaken without reasonable grounds or adequate consideration of the circumstances based on the evidence that we have tonight? Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I had one question for the two. If this same pad was put in as an asphalt driveway, is the size correct?
No.
Yeah.
Pretty
okay.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
You can only have a parking pad that's 18 by 20 and on certain streets. And I believe Porter is one of those streets.
So okay. So it's too big as well as non-conforming.
No, correct.
Correct.
Okay. Even if it were. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, sir. Yeah, please. Or-
I know that where the turnaround was originally at, he was still using it up until the time that he was forced to stop driving. It was solid, but it did have grass mixed in with it. I've seen, go down to Edgewater Park, they pay extra so that they can have grass growing through their concrete, because they're, like, I'd almost call them clay tiles, cement tiles, where it's spaced so that so that the grass can come through. That portion of the area, I think, is almost necessary on Porter Road, because Porter Road has a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. The standard car is normally going around 40. When I've been walking my dogs, I've had people passing in a no passing block. Not just a house or two is marked no passing, the whole street is marked. We also have ambulances coming down there.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just for a minute. I don't know, sir, and I appreciate what you're offering here, but the question before us is about the conforming nature of the pad. And I'm hearing what you're saying, but I think it's kind of a little bit outside the scope of what they should be considering for this appeal.
Well,
We do understand what you're saying, sir,
Yeah.
and we completely get your point, but as law director
so now,
said,
so now you're gonna have a split surface driveway, which is gonna look great too.
again,
That's for you people to decide, but I'm just bringing up points of concern for the neighborhood and everything else. We've got enough split surface driveways on the street now.
okay. I do appreciate your
Okay.
comments. Ms. Moran, did you have something else to add?
Even though I know I have the hearing apparatus, I'm still having a little bit hard time. So I know I caught a piece where it was saying that the gravel is hard to like control, I guess, because it's loose gravel. But I have that dirt mound that's there to help control it in that part. And before, I have the dirt mound there to help control it. I can put other structures up to try to control it, whether it be like wood with railroad ties going through it or something to try to keep it in stationary place. The only reason it wasn't maintained before I lived there was because the gentleman was too old to be able to take care of it. I'm sure if he was able-bodied that he would have taken care of it and then it would still have been maintained. It's just that is a fully that helps keep my house functional between my family members that come over. We don't have a big mud pile that's over there. I mean, even though I know you have ordinances, it's not hurting anything. I mean, my kids play in there, and my son's learning how to ride his bike in what you call a parking pad. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, folks, you can have a seat. Could we have a motion in a second, please?
I move that we approve.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think the motion would be to either uphold the building commissioner's decision or to reverse it. Let's do it that way.
Good. On case number 268-2025, Lori Moran, 5079 Porter Road, I move that we uphold the building commissioner's decision.
A second, please.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and second by Ms. Galatno. Discussion, please.
In your microphone.
In your microphone, yeah.
I do have personal experience with doing the same thing. As in 1989, when I purchased my house, I needed to move the driveway, and the original driveway was gravel, and it was very low. It was buried in, and I decided to save the money and just bury it. And I put 6 inches of dirt over top of it, and I moved the driveway over what I discovered was that worked great, except for that the original driveway was a crushed limestone, and the limestone would kill the grass every year. And every year I would end up replanting, and it required a lot of extra water. And to this day, 30-some years later, you can still see where that driveway was every time the weather gets warm, because the grass just dries out and dies. So it is difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. I have done it. My wife's been out there watering the grass every night and keeping it going, but it just by covering it doesn't make it go away. It's still there, and there are still things there that will prevent the grass from growing the same as the rest of it. So I did want to point that out. It's going to be difficult to keep the grass alive in it year after year with extra maintenance, as in my experiences is. I'm concerned that even if we allow or uphold the decision, or not uphold it, if we override the decision, that we still have a pad that's non-conforming because it's too big. So it would be bigger than what normally would be allowable. So we're dealing with upholding it or not, or approving it. So I have my concerns is all on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss your situation that you brought up. I too own a property that I purchased in 1998 here in North Olmsted, and I've lived there since. A sizable portion of the backyard had been converted into a children's playground, approximately 18 by 24 feet in size, covered with pea gravel and various sorts of womanized playground equipment. Okay. As my own children grew out of that, I dismantled the equipment and I brought in numerous yards of soil. And I recall trucking close to 100 wheelbarrow loads back to that pad, that gravel pad. And I planted grass on just over 3 to 4 inches of topsoil. And it's been beautiful ever since, but it wasn't limestone. Okay. So I know it can be done, which is why my previous line of questioning wanted to draw that issue up, just for the record, and each situation is different. The building department, there's no question from the way Mr. Groh has explained the city code and the commissioner's orders here from the building department. There's no question that the orders haven't been withheld. That's just a fact. And for us to overturn the authority of the building department would not be in keeping with upholding the laws of the city. However, as Mr. Groh has noted, and as we know from previous experience with officials within the building department, they make every attempt to work with homeowners. Even though this compliance order has reached time expired, I still have every reason to believe that in good faith, with a homeowner who is willing to accomplish whatever needs to be accomplished, they'll be able to work out a solution. I mean, I think they're here for solutions. As the homeowner has stated, she is for a solution also. And if it so turns out that, grass is planted on atop of number 57 gravel that might be out there now and it survives, well, if the homeowner or friends of the family want to use grass to turn a car around, that's their business. I don't feel we're in the design business here or anything like that. I think we're here to hear what the city's orders are and to hear what the applicant has said and to reason out our best decision to, benefit the city and the applicant.
So to share my own experience with that too, since we're all sharing, I had same thing, a parking gravel, 57 limestone gravel parking pad next to the driveway for about 20 years. 2 years ago, I got a letter from the city saying that it's non-conforming, had to be removed, and it's been there for 20 years, but understood, had been maintained, added to, nice and neat. Fortunately, that was at a time when we didn't have 6 cars, and that we were empty nesters by that time. So I took off the top 2 or 3 inches, put topsoil. As Mr. Ammons said, it's in the shade, so it does struggle a little bit and do have to overseed it, but the grass grows. So it went from gravel to grass, which is I think what the city and the building department are looking for. So in my case, it was something that was convenient, but not worth. It's non-conforming, so we had to get rid of it. So, but I'm sure, as you said, we're not designers, we're not landscapers.
All have microphones. Please use them.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, ma'am, you're out of order. I understand you're frustrated. I'm sorry about that,
Yes,
but screaming
we
in the
are
middle of
sorry.
a meeting is totally inappropriate, okay?
Okay, okay, we're sorry too, but this is the way we normally conduct our meetings. We're sorry.
I mean, just so you're aware, the woman that you were telling to speak up has a hearing impairment, and she's struggling to be able to communicate during this meeting as well. So I got you. Everybody try to speak a little bit louder so that everybody here can hear. Move your microphone a little closer when you're speaking. Same thing goes over there, okay?
Thank you. Sorry, we will try to be a little more respectful. So it is something, whether it's scarifying the area, planting, however it happens, I think, as you said, that there's rules for reasons. It hadn't been there for whatever reason for enough time that the grandfather status was lost, and I don't see a reason to overturn the findings. Okay, so as far as voting, the way the motion was made, if we vote yes, it is to
Uphold.
uphold. Okay, everyone understand that? Understand that a yes vote means we uphold the commissioner's ruling, a no vote means you wish to have it overturned. Okay? All right, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Ms. Glotno,
Yes.
Mr. Papato,
Yes.
Mr. Ammons.
Yes.
Okay, folks, so the building department's, the building commissioner's ruling has been upheld.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, next item on the agenda is 325-2025, Bronwyn and Anthony Huron at 27475 Benwood Circle.
Hello.
Okay,
My,
hang on 1 second.
Oh.
Anyone else here wish to speak on this case?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, because you'll be, yeah. Okay, so if you could all please name, address, spelling, and then I'll swear you all in, please.
my name is Bronwyn Huron, and I live at Benwood Circle 27475. My spelling is Bronwen. My last name is Huron, Huron.
Hello, I am Anthony Huron at 27475 Benwood Circle, Anthony Huron.
Kerry Aslanis, Kerry Aslanis, 27446 Benwood Circle.
Okay, if I could swear you all in, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Seeley?
Thank you. This is a project is for an animal shelter. There are 2 variance requests. The first one is a 105-foot variance for distance of animal shelter to dwelling on adjacent lot. Code requires 200 feet. Applicant shows 95 feet. The second one is a 26-foot variance for distance of animal shelter to the front lot line. Code requires 200 feet. Applicant shows 174 feet. The proposed animal shelter, according to the packet provided by the applicant, is roughly 12 feet by 16 feet, which is 192 square feet. And according to the Cuyahoga County Auditor, the property that this animal shelter would reside on is 38,690 square feet, which is 0.888 of an acre. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, please present your case.
So good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present my request. My family and I live at 27475 Benwood Circle on a 0.88 acre, which qualifies us to keep farm animals under city code. Our family has extensively researched and found ducks to be a better pet for North Olmsted winters. So we're asking tonight not for the animals themselves, but for permission to place their coop closer to our home, about 90 feet from the nearest dwelling, rather than deep into our woods, which is what our lot looks like, is about the 200 feet that's requested, mostly is wooded, as much of North Olmsted is. The code currently requires 200 feet for these kinds of animals, but chickens already have a reduced 45-foot standard. We believe ducks are much more like chickens and far less like horses, as I've told my family, so we believe it makes sense to apply a similar standard here. Our proposal preserves the intent of the code, minimizing impact with fencing and sanitation measures, and allows us to safely and responsibly care for the animals on the usable portion of our property. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll get back to you in a second. Do you have any questions now, ma'am, or would you like to?
I do, I'd like to know why ducks, not chickens, how many. I know that they lay a lot of eggs through the years, and my concern is with the amount of eggs that will be, is it just for your family?
If you could, please speak in the microphone, thank you.
Just for your family. I'm concerned that are you gonna sell the eggs? Are you bringing people, is that gonna be a little business on the side? I think also, since chickens are, I think I know what you're talking about, where the horses are, that they have chickens. So that's grandfathered in. And I don't know, with ducks, if you allow that, then that's sort of setting a precedence. What next? Is somebody gonna be allowed to have goats? And this is North Olmsted. It's not a whole big yarded, So I have just little concerns of who you'll bring in, who's coming in for the eggs. If we could have a little bit more detail than just the dwelling itself.
Okay, not at this, that's your question or questions? Okay, all right, thank you. We'll circle back. Ms. Seeley, comments from the building department.
I'm sure Brown will give some more details. She does have quite a nice packet of information, so I don't have anything to add. She can discuss that. Yeah, we have no concern right now. Thank you.
Okay. Director Guerrero?
Not at this time, thank you, sir.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant, neighbor, or city staff? And I'll start off with a question for the city. So the applicant mentioned that there was a 45-foot exemption for chickens.
Yeah, there's a whole different code in the zoning code on chickens that was introduced, I think, in 2020, 2019 when Paul Schumann was on council, and that was an exclusion only for chickens to be on properties. So everything else that's under 505.19 talks about domestic farm animals, and you have to have at least 3/4 of an acre in order to house these animals, but they have to be 200 feet from the front lot line or any neighboring dwelling. Chickens are a lot different. Ducks fall under 505.19. Ducks have nothing, or chickens have nothing to. The ducks have nothing to do with the chicken code, so you can't interplay, exchange them. So ducks fall under 505.19. They have to have 200 feet away. Chickens are a completely different animal.
Okay.
And a different code.
No pun intended.
Right.
I did include the chicken code. I understand what you mean of that. I am arguing that I would like the variance that they be treated similar to chickens. North Olmsted does have a completely separate policy to your livestock policy of chickens are allowed to be 45 feet from any dwelling. So that means, and there are absolutely houses near our circle that have chickens and actually do sell their eggs as a farm stand at the front of their space, that they they have chickens and you can see them from the road and they are treated in a similar way. We're mostly making the argument that ducks are similar to chickens. If I chose to only have chickens, I would be able to work with the exact policies that are already available within North Olmsted. I am making the argument that I would like to have ducks specifically because ducks are more winter friendly. There's actually a whole section of why ducks, not chickens, in my pamphlet. Um, they are they handle the weather better, they handle the wet better. We know that in North Olmsted we can get very moist in this space. We actually have a fairly large culvert that's dug through around our circle in order to help move water in our space. Chickens don't like being wet. It's actually bad for them and bad for their health. So when we looked into having chickens, and chickens are actually one of the reasons why we moved to North Olmsted, is that you have a variance that allows for that. We discovered the ducks were a healthier choice. The eggs are healthier, they're more interesting for our family, they are friendlier for children, they are quieter. We are not requesting drakes or anything else as a part of that, and we are looking for a good family pet that provides eggs for around the year. Per the requirements, I don't believe that for the acreage, if I did place the housing farther away, there would be a limit on the number of ducks. To answer your question, I don't plan to be unreasonable with them. The goal to start with is 5.
Microphone, if you could,
Oh,
please.
I apologize.
Sorry.
The goal is to start with 5, because half of our lot, and you can see the pictures if that's a question you have, is quite so wooded. We're aware that I'm going to be fighting raccoons and deers and lots of other things that already come through the space. So we're planning on having 5 and hoping that I can keep all of them safe. But that's really the biggest reason why we're requesting this, is that on the other side of that trench is completely wooded, and actually is much more visible to my neighbors. So keeping it closer to our home while still being sanitary and respectful of space, this seemed like the best location for it that would also keep the animals themselves safe and not traumatize my kids. Should I answer the other questions?
Okay, certainly, if you like to.
So from a keeping this specifically, the reason why we're asking about the location of it is because all of the limitations per law that we have is to the location of it. I'm very happy to talk about specifically why we chose these ducks. It's also not just any ducks. They're called Welsh Harlequins. I've done a lot of research in terms of what kinds of ducks that I would like to have. These ones are excellent layers throughout the winter. They're exceptionally friendly. We plan on hand feeding them and making them genuinely pets. Our plan for the eggs as of right now, hoping that we're successful in having our ducks, is that they're mostly going to be for food for us. They're also excellent in baked goods. They've got a higher protein count per egg than a chicken's egg does. They're actually very much prized for baked goods and custards and things like that. Additional eggs we've actually offered to our neighbors if they're interested in that, and you are more than welcome to have duck eggs as well if that's something you're interested in. And then beyond that, we don't have plans. I want to be honest with that. So if we end up being very successful with this, that's wonderful, but I'm not planning on starting a farm. So I think we'll just be planning on having our 5 ducks, and see whether or not they're as good layers as we think they are. Does that help answer some of your questions?
Mr. Chairman, it goes without saying you're just having female ducks? Are you-
Yes.
Okay.
They also, another benefit to ducks over chickens is that there isn't a dramatic difference in terms of sound between drakes and hens, like roosters. So there is no limitation per law on having drakes, but that's certainly not our plan.
You just have more than 5 then.
Correct. But you'd also have to go through, there's a lot
It's a
other
process,
things
yes.
to, right? It's not like having bunnies and then you suddenly have many. Like you'd have to go through the whole process of making
enough.
more ducks. The part of the reason why I don't want to overpromise. I'm being very careful and considerate about what we have asked for, and I hope that the council understands that. Ducks are, in general, difficult to sex at birth. However, part of the reason why we want specifically Welsh Harlequins, which are a very specific breed of duck, is that they've got a 90% accuracy rate when they're first born, that you can actually tell what type of duck they are. They actually have a cute change in the way their bills are colored when they're first born. So we're intentionally trying to be very, very considerate and aware that we are looking to have just hens and we are just trying to have them as pets.
Thank you. Okay, quick question, Ms. Seeley. So the dimension, the red dimension there from the proposed structure, that's actually to the shortest dimension is to the neighbor's house.
Correct.
Yeah, there's another GIS in there that I had done that shows both to the street and to the neighbor's dwelling.
I apologize for not realizing it was as close to the street as it was, or I would have included.
Yeah, I mean, it's 173 to the street, so the street's not really. I mean, it is the issue, just 25 feet. It's just closer to the neighbors, which is 95 feet ish from the neighbors, rather than the 200 that's required by code.
And is that your house, or where are you at in
The yellow.
I am the yellow.
Yeah.
Right, but
Oh, right
ma'am,
here.
which house is yours?
I am 3 houses on the other side of the
Okay,
cul-de-sac.
so not the immediate neighbor there. Okay, Ms. Wilson, do we get any correspondence from any other?
We have
neighbors?
not, no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
She is my neighbor.
oh, hi, thank you. Okay. So question. So I did come out and look at the property and did notice that ditch that you have and the bridge going across to the back, and can kind of see where you want to put it. Also noticed that there is a power pole with power lines coming out, and it looked like the structure was somewhere near there.
The power pole you're describing, if you can zoom out or scroll down a little bit. So you have an apologies. The power pole that you're describing is actually on this corner of our lot. So it is the farthest corner that you can get. And where I would like to put it is actually right here. So there's a small bridge that allows us to cross over. It's intentionally, right, we're trying to work within the areas of our space. So we have power line here, power line that goes to the house. We have obviously our neighbor's house and their fencing and our property line. And then this is where we'd like to have that duck house. So then and storage, so that we're able to keep everything together and very clean. So then there's a little bridge that crosses over. There's actually more grass, and then there's that power line.
Okay, so my question was, so relative to it looked like there were wires going to your house and to the neighbor's house. Ms. Steele, I think when they actually applied to build this structure, they'll have to look at where those wires are, if there's easements or anything like that as far as placement. So how that affects if they have to shift it relative to any variances that may be granted, they still need to maintain that, I would think, because that was my concern, was that looking at it and looking where you were thinking of placing the structure, it looked like it was close to those wires. But do understand why you want to keep it on the house side versus the other side with the access to the other side. Okay. Any other questions for board members for the city or any of the witnesses?
Can I request that you scroll back up?
Do you know what page?
Oh, close to the front. Ooh, and one more down. Two more down. These are my ducks. I just wanted to show you guys what I am very excited about this, and I've done a lot of careful consideration that this is the right pet for our family, and I've sourced where I can get them and everything else. So I really hope that we're able, understanding that they're not the same law, but that we're able to treat them more like chickens. Because they're really honestly better for North Olmsted than even chickens are. Not that I want to overturn the chicken rule. I'm happy the chicken rule is there.
Okay. Anything to add?
Microphone.
Microphone, please, if you
How
could.
do you plan to keep them in your yard? We have coyotes and fox, and they find those delicious.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the great horned owl. Me being an animal lover, how are you going to keep them from getting to them?
So again, this comes into a lot of research. It has to do with a lot of hardware cloth is the simple answer. It's something called hardware cloth. So it is very small, squared chicken wire, but significantly stronger than it. So it's essentially galvanized steel that's covered in safe plastic that's black. So it makes it very easy to see through it, so it shouldn't create an eyesore, but is extremely strong.
And that'll be your fencing?
That'll be not only for, so the area that we're asking for, yes. There is the structure that they live in.
Microphone, if you could, please. Sorry.
There is the structure that they live in, and then there is something called a run, which is basically, we actually have a garden that's right next to it. So we'll be utilizing that space and fencing around it and keeping a cover over the top of it as well. So we absolutely agree with you. They will not be free range, certainly without supervision and things like that, because we agree we wouldn't. You've seen my boys. They don't want anything to happen to the ducks either. So we're actually being we've actually talked about it, of the fact that we'll be putting it all the way around, essentially almost wrapping it like a present, because we want to also make sure that nothing can dig under or through, because we want to make sure that even something as small as a mouse can't bother them, and that we're not going to be bringing any additional animals to our neighborhood than we already have. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
She's going to have to be sworn in, Mr. President.
if
Mr.
you want
Chairman.
to speak, we'll have to swear you in. So come up to the podium, use the microphone, give us your name and address.
Okay, my name is Lil Bratko, and
You
I
can
live
spell it for us too. So
Lil Bratko, 27472 Benwood Circle, 2 doors from them. I've been a resident of North Olmsted for
I'll need
50.
to swear you in now, if you could. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
I've been a resident of North Olmsted for 52 years. Benwood Circle is 52 years old. I'm only one of 2 original residents on that street. My property is on a circle, and I butt up to Porter Road, up to a farm. And when I moved in 52 years ago, I still have horses now, but there were cows and chickens and goats and everything. We all lived very well together, even though the cows got in my yard. But things have changed, and North Olmsted has changed, as you all have known. My concern, I know the property the Hurons live in. I've been in their home a couple of times, not because of them being the owners, but previous owners, a father who then delegated that house to their daughter. So it was 2 generations, and now this is the 3rd generation. I have a concern about the upkeep of that property. I know they have all these wonderful plans of how they're going to contain the ducks and all this wonderful stuff. But I just have a concern about the upkeep of the property, because in my opinion, if they keep the ducks as nicer than they currently, this is very unkind, I know, than they currently keep their property. I'm not all for that. North Olmsted, Benwood Circle has declined, and these property owners are not keeping up their property the way I would like them to do. And I don't think having ducks is going to improve that situation.
Thank you. Okay, board members, any other questions for?
I have a question for the city staff. Is there a maximum allowed, like how many ducks they can have?
No, the code does not state anything about a number for ducks. Nope, the code is, as it's written here, does not say how many you can have.
I guess I have one question about the ducks. You had mentioned that you're hoping to get some eggs out of them. I knowing nothing about ducks, but how do you get eggs out of female ducks when there's no male?
So ducks produce eggs regardless of whether or not they have a male drake, as do chickens. The only significant difference without a male species with them, or gender with them, is that they won't be fertilized. So if a duck or an incubator incubated these eggs, they would never turn into other ducks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you have a seat. We could have a motion and a second, please.
On item 325-2025, Bronwyn and Anthony Huron, 27475 Benwood Circle. I move we approve the variances as written.
I second.
So, motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Ms. Glotno. Discussion?
I've heard of the statutes involved here, and read the information provided, and there's a penumbra here in that chickens and ducks are essentially fowl, and one quacks and one clucks. What's the difference other than that? So I'm, the applicant is asking for a variance. As the variances are stated, I'm in favor of them.
Any thoughts?
I would agree.
Ms. Glotno?
Agreed. I think it's far away enough from the street and the adjacent neighbor that I would be in favor.
And the thing that swayed me was that ditch cutting through the yard, and if it were to conform, it would be on the other side in that. The lot is certainly big enough, but the variances are for placement, and I think the placement, which again is, as we went through the last one, we just need to focus on the question, and the question of the two variances for placement, and given the way the lot is configured and the physical constraints on it, I think that the variances are justified.
And I think because of that, it's probably safer for the animals too, to have it closer to the actual residents.
Okay, Ms. Wilson, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Ms. Glotno? Yes. Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Papato?
Yes. Okay, your variance request is passed. Okay. And you don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to go. Or you can stay if you'd like. Okay, next item on our agenda is 326-2025 Benjamin and Andrea Scott at 3660 Hunter Drive. And again, anyone wishing to speak on this case, if you could please come up to the podium and give us your name and address and spelling, please.
Benjamin Scott, Benjamin, Scott, Sott, 3660 Hunter Drive, North Olmsted.
Robert Null, 24423 Westwood Road, Westlake, Ohio. Last name is spelled Null.
Thank you. If I could please swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Seeley, if you could.
Thank you. Okay, so this is we're doing a deck on one side and a covered deck on the other side. So there's four variance requests. The first one is a variance to enlarge a non-conforming dwelling that does not conform to all setback requirements. Code does not permit. The dwelling is non-conforming in that the existing rear yard setback is shown as 34 feet 5 inches, where 50 feet is required in the rear yard. Second variance is for an accessory structure, a deck in the side yard. Code requires an accessory structure to be in the rear yard. Applicant shows accessory deck in the side yard. This is the proposed deck, which is on the east side of the dwelling, which is 8 feet by 18 feet. The third is a variance for an accessory structure, a roof deck in the side yard. Code requires an accessory structure to be in the rear yard. The applicant shows it at the deck, the roof deck in the side yard. It's on the west side of the dwelling. It's 12 feet by 15 feet. And then fourth is an 8-foot variance for the side yard setback of a corner lot. Code requires 20 feet. Applicant shows it should say 17 feet on that, not 13 feet. The dwelling is located on a corner lot. The applicant has proposed 2 decks, both in the side yard. Chapter 1115, under definitions, lot line front on a corner lot. The shortest of 2 lines determines the front lot line. In this case, Antler is the front yard and Hunter is the side yard. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Whoever would like to speak?
Yeah, we live on the corner of Antler and Hunter. My garage door is on Hunter. My address is on Hunter. The picture window in the front of the house is on Hunter. The driveway is on Hunter. My mailbox is on Hunter. So I have to disagree with that. I would think that's the front of my house. So we would like to improve the look of the front of the house with the deck on the front, with a railing, small deck railing for my wife who's had 4 hip surgeries, and a little overhang so she can stand there in the front of the house and not get wet. And as far as I consider the back, not the back of the house and not the side of the house for a deck with an overhang in the back so we can entertain. It's all about improving the house from the street, the look. Right now, I have to admit, it's just plain. And that's it. I'll let Bob, our builder, take over.
Would you mind if we had the GIS up that was in there? Thank you. That is, I think it's.
No, that's
the one-
handout.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to see, but there you go. So this deck back here, this is where we're talking about. So essentially, this side of his house is what's facing the road. This is his address. This is his garage. And then, of course, because of the way the codes are, this is actually what you're considering his front yard, which we actually can't build on. There's also a fenced-in area that comes back around here. So what we're looking to propose is that we were going to come from here 18 feet, 8 feet out, which is about, I believe, 2 feet further than what their current pad is. And then we were going to do a bump out overhang just so when they walk out, they're not getting rained on and whatnot. And that's and then we'll have it railed in, and then there'll be steps that are actually inlaid into the deck itself coming off onto the driveway. So their safety issue is still there. They'll have a railing there. They're not impeding with the driveway at all. And they should be pretty close to what you'd want for compliance for the street. But I understand that, there are compliance issues here just because these are considered the sides of the house. And, so of course we really can't do anything. And after I met with Miss Seeley, we actually looked around how we could even do anything anywhere. Really, we would have to ask for a variance no matter what we did, based on our plot lines and our actual, lot area that we're able to work within. back here where you see the other white pad. And mind you, all these pads are sitting here currently. So it's something that we can build on. We were going to build a second deck that was in the backyard that was going to actually reach up to almost foot level so they could step right off onto it instead of stepping down onto the concrete pad that they have now. And then we were going to put a metal roof over it, about a foot over the roof, just so, contains the rain, and then they wouldn't be getting poured on and they could sit in the backyard and enjoy the weather. So that's what we were looking to accomplish here. So, of course, like I had said, after we had met, we would have to request a variance no matter what we did here. So that's pretty much all I have for now. So I guess if you have questions, I can answer.
Okay, yeah, set the microphone back. We'll go to the building department for any comments first.
Right, that was absolutely correct. Anything they wanted to do, they would have to apply for a variance because of the shortness of the backyard. And I understand with the driveway and the front door and all that, but according to our code, the way it is, that's how I have to review it because it is a corner lot. So, yeah, anything they wanted to do would require a variance, unfortunately. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Grove?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant or Bob the builder?
It's good.
I get that all the time, too.
I'm with you.
No questions.
No.
So essentially what you're saying, if I'm just, so I understand this, I drove by the property, but I did not stop. So, what you're looking at, adding a structure, a covered structure on the Hunter side of this house.
No, what we'd be doing is all we would have, it's almost like a small dormer coming off just so when they step out, if it's raining, they're not getting poured on. It's only about a three foot bump out from the roof that's going to actually be into the roof. It's just a small overhang. Just so when they walk out of their porch here, there'll be a set of stairs right here. So they're not, if it's raining, they're not getting poured on as they're coming out of their house. The deck itself, and you can see the pad that's currently here, we're actually expanding it about another 6 feet and then just bringing it up and bringing it across and building it as a deck at that point. That way that when they're stepping out, they're not stepping off the stairs, they're stepping right onto their deck.
But all of that deck will be covered.
I'm sorry?
All of the deck will be covered?
No, just where you come out of the front door.
Sir, if you could hold the microphone too, please.
I
Just so we could
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I apologize about that. No, just where you're coming out of the front door, there's going to be a little dormer over it almost. Just a small overhang about 3 feet out and about, I believe, I don't remember what the measurements were exactly, but I think it's about 3 feet wide.
So half of the deck will be covered and half of it will be uncovered.
About 8, because it's 18 feet this way and it's 8 feet out. So no, only about 3 feet of that 18 feet will be covered.
But the other deck will be covered on the other
Oh,
side.
you're talking the back deck.
Well, yeah, that was
There's two
that was
decks.
Oh, you said the Hunter side.
Well, yeah,
I'm sorry,
was
when
talking about one side at a time. So yeah, the back one I wasn't as concerned about. I was concerned about the street side one more.
Oh, okay.
That's got to be more visible.
Yeah, if you go to my drawing on here, and actually I'm not sure what page it was on there, but I actually have a drawing of the actual dormer. Next page. I actually have a hand drawn. Nope. That is, God, it's so hard to see.
There it is.
There we go.
This right here. So when you're walking out of the door, all you're talking about is a small overhang here. This is all roof line. This is all I'm putting on. The rest of this 18 feet is going to be just the deck. I hope that makes sense. And then there'll be an inlaid step on this side of it that they can get it, that will come right down to the driveway.
And then a according to the city, that's the side of the house.
Correct, according to what I
Okay.
read,
I'm good then.
under the definition, that is considered a side yard.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, no other questions? Okay, you can have a seat.
Oh, thank you.
If we could have a motion and a second, please.
On item number 326-2025, Benjamin and Andrea Scott, 3660 Hunter Drive, I move we approve the variances.
I second.
Mr. Earl left. They did have that one, so item number 4, Ms. Seeley, was, so it's still, the variance is the same, it's still an 8-foot
Still 8
variance.
foot, yes, correct.
Okay, all right, sorry,
That's okay.
please go ahead.
I told you my math is not good. Just kidding.
Okay, so motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Ms. Glatno. Discussion?
Yeah, this is another case where the curious case of corner lots. And every time we come up against one, there's always a discussion as to where the front of the house is or what the side yard is. But given the fact that by definition we are talking about the side yard, and also the fact that the builder and the applicant have indicated that it would not be on the Hunter Drive side, it would not be a structure that would appear to be a total addition to the house. It's simply a slightly raised deck. I'm in favor of it.
Agreed.
Okay, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Ms. Glatno,
Yes.
Mr. Emmons,
Yes.
Mr. Papato,
Yes. Okay, your request for variance has passed. All right, next item on the agenda is 327-2025 Bob Geiger at 23658 Mastic Road. Anyone else wishing to speak on this case? Okay, sir.
Hello, my name is John Cavillo. I am the contractor and a friend of Mr. Geiger.
You could
John,
hang
last
on
name.
1 second, please. Ms. Seeley, and being that you're not, I don't know if you're the applicant, who is the applicant?
He's the contractor. I've met with him several times.
Okay, so
So
we're
he's
we're
good.
okay
He's-
presenting, okay. We just need to make sure that
No-
whoever
no
is,
problem.
we have the right people speaking. So if you could please repeat that.
No problem. John Cavillo, last name Cal, V as in Victor, Illo. I live in Parma, Ohio, 1119 Parkley Drive, Parma, Ohio.
Okay, thank you. If I could swear you in, please.
Yes.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Seeley, if you could.
Thank you. This proposal is for a detached garage, a 362 square foot variance for area of private garage. Code permits 750 square feet. Applicant shows 1,112 square feet. The existing attached garage is 440 square feet. The proposed one-story detached garage is 28 feet by 24 feet, 672 square feet. The lot size is 65,597 square feet, 1.506 acres. Thank you.
Okay, sir, if you could please tell us about your case.
Yes, so Mr. Geiger, as I attached a letter also, he's 83 years old and doesn't have a lot to do, okay? He lives on a slab home by himself and he just wants to, do things and he's just limited. He has no basement at all. And he wanted to build this. This was like his dream to build this, garage in the back so he can do he's got some antiques and stuff, that he wants to work on just to keep I don't want to call him old timer, busy. And he's by himself. So it could be his little getaway to do things. And also, I know we didn't need a variance for the concrete garage, the concrete driveway, terrible condition, all broke up. And I just think it'll be a very good thing for him, but also the city and the property over there to clean this up real nice for the guy. And I'm gonna do everything within my capabilities of making his dream come true if I can and clean everything up for the city of North Olmsted.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Seeley, any comments from the building department?
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay, Director Rowe?
No, sir, thank you.
Board members, questions for the applicant or city staff?
What's gonna happen with the existing attached garage? Like, will that transform, or will that still stay, it will still stay as garage?
It's my understanding it's still gonna stay as a garage, yes.
Yes, it will. It's an attached garage.
Okay.
Right, he's not turning it into any sort of living
not turning
space,
it
no.
into living
Not that
space,
it's
okay.
been discussed at all, no.
That was my question also.
I have a question. You did mention the concrete drive. Is that part of this plan to replace the existing drive?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And then there would be.
I have pictures of it. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Then there would be an extension of that drive to the new garage also?
Correct.
Okay. So that would be a paved area, I assume?
Correct. Concrete, all concrete.
Thank you.
Lynn, if you could show, that's what they're proposing to do as far as the driveway.
I missed that.
There you go.
I think it's on the second attached to the letter.
So they're able to put the driveway on the side of the house, no problem with the width of the property.
I have a picture of his existing driveway. I know it's here or there
We
with your
have it.
decision, but
They have it.
it'll clean up real nice.
So I guess my question would be, 28 by 24 would seem to be an awfully large space for an elderly person to piddle around on little projects. Is that, an issue that, it could be made in more of a compliant way or bring it down in size?
If I don't even know like how to say this, and please excuse me if I'm speaking out of line. My wife just got diagnosed with cancer last week, and she had to get rushed back to the hospital today. Okay, and she's at Southwest General Hospital, and my heart has always been like this, even with Mr. Geiger. The man's 83 years old, and this is his little dream. And if it's, it can happen in his backyard, and God bless him if, city council approves it. I can't say this is what he would have liked. I know what you're saying. Can it be something smaller? Sure, it could be 8 by 8, 6 by 6, 10 by 10, but this is what he was asking, and I'm just trying to help him out. And sorry, I got into details about my personal life.
No, okay, that's fine. I was just wondering if there was a specific reason for the size of the building that maybe we didn't understand.
No, sir, and I didn't mean that in a smart way. It's just this is his dream, and if he's able to do it, God bless him. That's all.
Any other questions? Okay, sir, you have a seat. We have a motion and a second, please.
On item number 327-2025, Bob Geiger, 23658 Mastic Road. I move we approve the variance as written.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Mackigan, seconded by Ms. Galantino. Discussion?
Well, I think the plan as proposed is a serious upgrade to the property, especially the driveway out front being well beyond its useful years.
And I think a lot of times those existing those small attached garages end up being attached storage areas, because that's about all you can do. If you put a car in, you don't put anything else in. And, I think that with the size of the garage, that'll give them a convenient place near the house. And then the size of the garage in the back for a vehicle and for whatever else you may want to do back there. So if he was just building the garage, he would be under the max. But with the combined area between the two garages is what is requiring the variance. So I'm in favor of it. And given the size of the lot also.
Coming from a house with no basement, I realize that space is always at a premium, and it's always nice to have extra storage space no matter where you're at, actually, and to be able to have a little man cave, so to speak, you know, and hang out and do his things out there. That would also benefit his life. So I would be in favor. I had asked the questions about the size just to see if we could, you know, if we could make it conform a little easier, but I have no problem with the property.
Okay, Ms. Wilson, if you could.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes?
Ms. Glotno,
Yes.
Mr. Ammons,
Yes.
Mr. Papato.
Yes. Okay, variance request is passed.
Best of luck to your wife, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Last item on the agenda is 328-2025, George Bowman Jr. at 23724 Mastic Road. Anyone else wish to speak? If you could? Nothing? All right.
Yeah, my name is Jim O'Donnell, JIMODONNELL.
Your address, please?
I'm in 121 Magnolia in Northfield, and I'm requesting to.
Okay, hang on one second. I'll need to swear you in.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And then Ms. Steele will give us an introduction from the building department.
Okay.
Thank you. This is for a new home on Mastic. It's two variance requests, a 15-foot variance to the minimum lot width of a dwelling in a A1 family district. Code requires 80 feet. Applicant shows 65 feet. Number two is a 0.05-foot variance for side yard setback of a dwelling designed to have an attached garage. Code requires minimum sum of two sides to be not less than 15 feet. Applicant shows 14 feet, 95. East side yard is 5 feet and the west side is 9.95 feet. And then I put in the per the chapter 1115 definitions, lot width, the horizontal distance of a lot measured along the front building line at the front building setback line. That's how you determine where the lot width is at. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir, if you could please tell us about your case.
Okay. I just want to let you know that's my daughter and her fiance. They're going to get married on the 25th. The house is for them, and he's going to help me build it. So, anyway, when we were coming here, I spoke with the neighbor on the east side of us. He's lived there for 80. He's 80 years old. He's been there his whole life. His mom did a lot split and granted this lot to his sister. So at the time she did a lot split, she did, if you could see how the topo is, it goes out 65 feet. At the street, it goes out to 80 because then it was 80 foot. I think he was going off of frontage instead of, like now it is 80 feet all the way back. So, I mean, they've been paying taxes, which they thought was on a buildable lot. But we found out now that it's not. She has passed away, and now we're buying the lot from her two sons. And and also, the lot is 13,600 is what we need to build on for residential. And the lot itself is, I think, 18,500. So the square footage is there. It's just that it's too narrow. So in the 5 inches that we're coming up short on, we're not taking off the short side, the 5 foot side. We're going to take the 5 inches from the 10 foot side. So, I mean, it's just 5 inches. Let me see. And so with that house, I don't know if you have a picture of the house. So I brought one. I got it. So this is the cover. This is the front of the house. The house is only 1,550 square feet. So, I mean, it's as small as we could go, in order to fit that lot. I'm trying to do the best we can there. I mean, they're getting married and starting a family. They would like to go bigger, but because of the lot, I'm just trying to keep the house to conform with the neighborhood, and with the other houses around there, so it doesn't look out of place. I'm not asking to build a big mammoth, a big big house that doesn't look right there. So yeah, just wanting to keep what's right in the neighborhood. So I mean, and I also wanted to touch base too. Like they've been looking in this area to purchase for over a year now, and they're both school teachers, and it's cheaper for me to build than the stuff that they were looking at for the price, and for the work that has to go into the older homes and stuff. So it's just as far as the price goes and the money goes, you got that too. So let me see. I think that's about everything. I spoke to the neighbor on the east side of us about any concerns that he would maybe have or whatever, and I spoke to him, and he seemed he seemed fine with it, because he said he wasn't going to come to contest or anything. So I mean it's fine with the neighbor that I spoke to that's on the 5-foot side of me, the smaller on the east side, the one where the house is going to be closer to on that side. And then on the west side, it's really an open lot before you even get to the next neighbor's house. So I didn't speak to them because they're pretty far over there. But so I mean, like I said, I'm trying to go with a small enough house, to comply with the small square footage that we have, and everybody's between us and a neighbor, I think everything should work out. So if there's any questions.
Okay, we'll go over to the city for a second. So,
All right.
Ms. Healy, any comments from the building department?
Yeah, I met with Jim several times. We talked on the phone. I think he's doing a good job with trying to, get a house on a vacant lot that probably looks overgrown, and now you'd have a nice home on there, nice grass. And 2 of his asks are very minimal. The house is set back further, so it's not like it's up to the street, and it's right on the property lines. Like he said, the lot next to him is rather large, several acres, it looks like, and they're probably a couple hundred feet away from that house. So we don't have any objections to this. Thank you.
Director Burrow?
No, sir, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant or for city staff?
No questions.
None.
Ms. Healy, my only question is on the second variance. So
Mhm.
that is a 0.05 foot variance.
That's what you said,
So
yeah.
just so everybody knows, it's written as 0.05 inches. It's 0.05 feet, and I know
It's 5 inches.
you said it's
No, it's 9.95, so you need to be 10. So you're Mr.
yeah,
Mr.
it's 19.95 feet is what your drawing shows.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 9.95.
Correct.
And it needs
Yeah.
to be 10, so it's 0.05 feet,
Yes.
which
yes.
is
correct.
a little over a half an inch.
Okay.
So it's
Right. Oh yeah. Right. right.
hopefully you can build that closely.
That's precision building.
Yeah. I'll have to use a better tape measure.
Mr. Chairman, if he's that good, you got yourself a fine career.
Yes. So that would be my director. My only question is, do we need to amend that? I mean, it says
We can amend it in the
into
meeting
0.0
minutes.
from 0.05 inches
Well,
to
you
0.05.
read it in. You read it in when you.
I read it incorrectly.
She did read it
Yes,
in correctly.
yes.
So
You in
I-
the correct
I
way.
read it in the correct way, yes.
Okay.
So do math.
Okay. So no questions, anybody? All right.
All
Okay,
right.
you can have a seat, sir. We have a motion and a second, please.
On item number 328-2025, George Bowman Jr., 23724 Mastic Road. I move we approve the variances.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Ms. Glotno. Any questions, comments, discussion?
Well, I think the drawings as presented are showing a good solution to solving a problem. The land was underutilized and should be the site for a nice home.
Definitely a hardship with the width because
Yep.
they did sort of a flag lot where they made it legal at the street, but then narrowed it up, and they there's nothing they could build there that would be, I mean, the lot is too narrow toward the back, so the width variance, I don't think is a problem. And then my only comment would have been, if you squeeze the house half an inch, you don't need a variance, but again, we probably can't get that close anyway, so.
Yeah, without, going forward, this is the type of lot that would, become neglected very easily and become an eyesore. So putting a house on it is definitely far better than that for the neighborhood and for the city both.
Okay, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Ms. Gluttno?
Yes.
Mr. Papato?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Okay, folks, your variance request is passed. Thank you. Thanks for your patience tonight. You too.
Two.
Okay, and with that, meeting adjourned at 8:51.
Holy cow.
Drum roll.